So, AI apparently is increasing or giving people imposter syndrome because they feel a little bit incompetent compared to AI's speed. It gives people a sense that maybe there's no point to their job or their work. But it'd be hard to imagine AI having imposter syndrome. Why is that? And what can we learn from that in terms of who we are as humans and how we might break out of imposter syndrome? Hello, this is Dr. Amina for another episode of Wise Wednesdays from sunny London. And here are 5 interrelated reasons I think AI doesn't experience imposter syndrome and what we can learn from it. So, number 1, AI doesn't have a body like us. So, it's not constrained by physical pain or fear of physical pain. And so, to me, that means we can have some compassion for our human condition. We can be a little bit more tender with what it's like to be a human with imposter syndrome or anything else that's difficult. Number 2, no emotions. AI, as far as we know, doesn't experience anxiety, fear, and its thinking doesn't get distorted by a fear of pain or a desire for pleasure, which does affect us and affects other animals. And so we can learn to work with our emotions, know that they're there, be with them, accept them, and then work with them, understand their wisdom. And I won't go into any details here, but I'm sure you have your own practices with emotions and how to work with them so that they don't overwhelm you, but you don't cut yourself off from them. Number 3, there's no lived memory. AI doesn't have trauma from experiences of rejection or failure that were very painful and then start to limit its capacity now. It might be programmed, it can be programmed for any of these things that I've mentioned, but it doesn't experience them, it doesn't have awareness or consciousness of them like we do. And it's responding to a program, not to a lived experience. And so we can learn to work with our difficult memories, with the tension patterns or conditioned thinking habits that we've internalized and that shape our actions and affect our lives. There are ways to do that, and maybe you have a few as well. Number 4, no sense of self. AI, as far as we know, doesn't have the experience of being a self that it has to defend or protect, an identity that it has to somehow perform. And this hits the heart of what spiritual practices try to teach, that we're not who we think we are. We are a set of conditions or processes that come together and are unfolding constantly in connection with the environment, in connection with other people. And this changes, and what remains is a sense of awareness of this that we can develop and cultivate, and that gives us a sense of freedom. It's liberating, and it eases the suffering in our lives and gives us more joy and peace and ease. And so number 5, AI doesn't have social stakes at play. Again, it can be programmed to respond to a certain conditions, but it doesn't. It's not afraid of losing its social standing like humans are, and it's linked to the survival issue at the beginning, the survival imperative. As far as we know, AI doesn't have that, so it doesn't have to worry and adjust itself and constantly think and calculate and recalibrate and perform so that it doesn't disappoint others and doesn't experience rejection and lack of safety from not belonging to a tribe. And so we can learn to recognize that, and we can learn to cultivate environments that are supportive for ourselves and for others. And remember that we're not isolated, we're not islands, we are interconnected. And that is how we have flourished as a species and as life on this planet. So, what are your thoughts? This occurred to me while preparing a lecture on imposter syndrome. And maybe AI will develop consciousness. I personally think it's not so likely, at least not in the near future, but it can mimic it. But the point I'm trying to make here is that we can't become machines. I don't think we need to become machines to be happier. I think we can remember what it's like to be a human, what makes us different to a machine. And that gives us a sense of aliveness, clarity, maybe ease. And then from there, we can take actions that are in service of what matters to us, what matters to life. I hope that was helpful or interesting. Feel free to leave a comment or a question, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.